Well, here we are. No intro music, no loud, raucous stuff, no commentary leading you to be excited about the opportunity to hang out here. Just a little lonely. So, welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining in. I see we've got half a dozen people or so already. I just wanted to get together and had a busy day today, and just wanted to get together and talk through few bits and pieces and get caught up on the channel and the blog, just because lots of activities, I guess, going on that may impact our ability to actually, do things and produce content and stuff like that. So I've got to work out how I'm gonna get around all that. I'm hoping that all you geniuses will have some good ideas. So let's see who we got. Peter and John, regulars, thank you very much for joining. Hello, Jeff, good to see you. And we'll get a few other folks coming in. We've got folks here that are also on Facebook as well. So you may not see people commenting in the chat, but you will potentially see. Whoops. Let's turn that volume off, don't we? Because that will cause a little bit of an echo. There we go. All right. I just want to make sure that we had the stream up. Looks like we're good to go. All right. So let's get started. So a little bit of an update. I've been posting a few articles from Fire and Movement magazines because I've been going through trying to clean out all the doubles that I have of them and extras I might have, things like that, which of course ended up with me pulling them out of the magazine bag and starting to read them all and thinking, oh, isn't this interesting? So I've been doing a lot of that lately, and it's prompted me to, I think that Fire and Movement and its UK counterpart, Phoenix Magazine, which, by the way, there's a group for Fire and Movement on Facebook, and it was a dead, dormant group, and I rejoined, and it automatically, or I joined, and automatically made me admin. So I'm the admin for the group. I don't plan on doing too much there, but if you like the Fire and Movement magazines, I'm going to come back to where I was headed with this. Join that group. Hey, DCB, good to see you. Hexy, what's up, bro? And Todd, good to see you. Rich and Charles, good to see you, gang. So if you haven't joined the Fire and Movement Moves magazine game group, you should do it just because it'll be fun. I'm going to be posting where I have scans of the magazines. I'm going to be posting snippets of articles, pictures, commentary, things like that. But what struck me was that there really is no substitute or replacement or something that has sort of lasted past the Fire and Movement magazine, right? Where folks would write reviews, sometimes fairly in-depth reviews, and others are more looking at design intent as well, which are particularly interesting. And they're a couple of thousand words or more. And they are also, the designers are given the opportunity to respond and post their 1 page or 2 page or 1 paragraph rebuttal or commentary on the review. So I thought that was, I've always liked that about the Fire and Movement magazine. Richard, Champion, good to see you. Craig, good to see you. Hey, guys. So always enjoyed seeing those articles and reading. You're taking, just because it's multiple thousands of words doesn't necessarily mean it's a good review, nor does it mean that it's a insightful review. It just means it's substantial because it's one person's opinion, right? And I think the Fire and Movement magazine probably had undue influence on a lot of the commentary and opinion on games for those folks that were subscribed. It became pretty popular, and I think that drove a lot of purchasing for folks, and it also drove a lot of opinions and commentary. If something was a bad game or was reviewed poorly, I think folks snagged onto that one snippet that said, oh, this is bad because of these 3 reasons, even though they'd never seen the game or played it. So I've certainly, as I've read now 60, 70, 80 of these more, as I've read them, I'm seeing comments that I see that are very, very common commentary on a particular title on a regular basis, which is pretty interesting. That it's just kind of regurgitation from a Fire and Moose magazine. Some person may never have played it, right? Or they happen to have exactly the same opinion, but so anyway, I was cleaning out all these magazines because I do have a number of doubles and bits and pieces that I've just accumulated over time when folks have either donated stuff or sold me stuff. And so I'm trying to probably, unless people want them and prepared to pay for the modest postage, I'm going to be just trashing the doubles and keeping all the individual copies. I know there's a movement in some circles to scan the magazines beyond issue 60. And so I think that's ongoing at the moment. So I hope, hey Mo, good to see you, Mr. Notorious. Yes, I am the notorious asshole, according to, or asshole, actually, because it was an American saying, according to some people. But there you go. So I'm trying to get rid of that stuff, and but I was really enjoying looking at the annual reviews and what the Fire Movement magazine did, which I thought was an interesting way of categorizing successful games. Was all the people that had done a review. For every review they did, they got a vote, and they were allowed to vote on the pool of games that were reviewed in the magazine, and that then generated a listing of top 10 games for the year, and then also provided a honorable mention list and stuff like that. So it's funny, back in 1992, John Kistner was one of the article writers, and he wrote a lot of articles, I guess, in 1992, in 1991 perhaps, and had a lot of votes for the Gamers games. And I think they swept the titles. I think they had 3 out of the top 5 or 4 out of the top 10 or whatever it was, titles, which, Civil War, OCS, TCS, you name it, all these crunchy games from Dean Nessig were taking the world, the gaming world by storm. But with insightful, thoughtful commentary and reviews, and then people voting on those things and all that sort of stuff. So I thought that was a pretty interesting thing. Yeah, that's interesting, Charles, that you said that you would say that, right? Because the guys, and it's 99% guys that did the reviews, the guys that did those reviews were typically people who were into pretty crunchy games, right? Pretty involved games, pretty detailed games. You don't see a lot of reviews, in-depth reviews of SBI magazine game, The Punic War, right? Although there is a review in the magazine, that's why I mentioned it, but it's pretty light. It's 400 or 500 words, which is probably all the game deserves, but is what it is, right? So they were into pretty crunchy games. Now they did do some detailed reviews of some of the S&T magazine games, and you can actually go around and pick out some of the winners, which funnily enough, based on what I read today, I went and bought the Toyota War Chad. I forget what issue it is, 200 something or 160 or something like that. I went and bought that on Noble Knight today. I'm punch copy for $10. Why not try it out? So we'll see. Okay, so I'm packing, kind of. I've got this 2 big tubs here that are going with me to Dallas on Friday, very early. And I'm going to take those up and try and flog those off for cheapies in the CSW Dallas Con. I'll be up there Friday and Saturday. I think I'm now staying Saturday night and leaving early Sunday morning, subject to hanging out with Mo and how late we stay up, potentially live streaming with whiskey. So we'll see what happens. That may be a real Whiskey Charlie night. So let me see where we got comments in here. They're cranking through. All right. Interesting, Jeff. So you applied to work with Steve Jackson Games, huh? Oh, that sucks. and then they sold the game. You know, I guess I can pop these. I haven't done a live stream in a long time, so sorry if this is tedious, but I'll get back in the rhythm because, well, maybe I won't. Well, I'm not sure I'll be able to do live streams. So anyway, whoa, camera, easy there. Planning this move is proving to be a little bit of a logistical nightmare. I need my OCS brain to kick in to try and help us because we're taking things that we're going to use for the next 12 months into a renovated barn. We're taking everything else that we're not going to use, selling it, but everything that we want to use later when the new home is finished at the property we're living on, that we'll be living on, is going into a storage unit to be kept. I think I've convinced Kelly, my wife, that my bookcases, these things here, we're going to put them along one wall, and I'm going to donate a couple of them to her for stuff, and then I will be able to have more games in the space than I thought, at least stored, so I'll have access to things, access to some books, instead of having to go down to the storage unit, bring a game back, set it up and play it and put it away. I'm going to be restricted basically to a desk-sized space because the other half of the desk that will be having to work from, and my wife is going to work off the sofa. So it's going to be kind of cozy. Anyway, I need to, so we're trying to organize that. I've got 3 kids who are moving to 3 different locations in the next 3 weeks, and we're moving in 3 weeks. We're trying to close on a house sale for a small property out of town by the end of May. I'm trying to sell some other property. There's all sorts of stuff going on. I was going to go up to Angel Fire, but there's huge fires up there right now, and Angel Fire, New Mexico, is on a move alert. Everyone's in ready state to abandon their homes because this massive 200,000 acre fire is going through there. So I'm not sure if that house is going to be standing. So it's been an interesting week or 2 or month or 3 to sort of organize my world. So I'm thinking about games and the ones that I want to try and keep access to. And I was start thinking that some of the larger games that I have, despite the fact that I won't be able to set up monsters, often they'll have 1 map scenarios in them. So like Guderian's Blitzkrieg might be a good example, or Last Blitzkrieg from BCS. And that way I'd have 1 box with multiple games that I could play out of them. Even Case Blue, well, I guess Case Blue doesn't have single mappers, really. So that's something to think about. So open to suggestions on what titles I should be trying to bring along with me. Definitely going to be bringing World at War, just because with 2 boxes I can knock out any number of scenarios and mainly do small ones and do single mappers or 2 mappers that'll fit on the dining room, the half of the dining room table. You do that. Probably want to bring Salerno 43 and play that again just because it's cool. I'm going to have some picture frames, so I can I'll probably have to pin them, but I'm going to pin the games, the maps, to these picture frames that have cork backing, and I'll be able to stack them on the table and just play them as I want to, and then rotate them around and try and do that. That's my game plan. The Third Winter might be another opportunity for single map games, though I don't know if that's a good choice. Let's see what other folks have to say here. Jeff, you play crunchy games. You play a lot of crunchy games. You just went through, did you go through playing all the Civil War games recently? Is that what you were trying to do in a series? What were you doing? Tell me, because I saw you doing something on your channel. John's looking for milk. It must be nearly bedtime. And this is a good point. I'm nervous. So here's the thing though. Once we're in the barn, we'll be there for ideally a year, which will probably be 18 months. But from there, we're going to go up the hill to where the house will be. And then all my bookcases go into my room, my game room, study, whatever you want to call it. So, and she is going to have access to the barn to have her crap, whatever it is she's going to be doing. So that's the thing. Doing naval game. I suck at naval. Looking for insight. Yeah, well, that's why I'm going to take Pacific War with me, right? So there are lots of single map games for that title as well. Single map games, single map scenarios. So we're playing that. Not a huge Fleet Series or Admiral's War or War at Sea or War in the Pacific guy. I'm not a big fan of those. So I don't think I'll be taking those, but certainly interested in hearing other ideas from folks as we go here. Okay, what are 20-foot once used sea cans? I don't understand. What is? Do you mean like a shipping container? That's a really cool idea. I think my wife would kill me if we put a shipping container on the property. We already have a prefab home and a barn. I can certainly fit a 20-foot container. I can put a pad down, a gravel pad down. That's interesting. All right, Mr. Berg, that goes into the good ideas bucket. Yeah, Chris, it's really bad. In fact, our longtime dear friend from that area, if you know, it's called Ute Park, which is north of Angel Fire, maybe northeast of Angel Fire. There's a guy who lives there that is like the fire chief, regional ranger fire chief or something like that. And he's been sending us text messages and stuff. So he actually went and got a bunch of things out of the house for us that were sentimental value, but took that stuff out. So yeah, I've seen photographs of the fire. It looks really, really bad. So I'm hoping it doesn't blow through the entire town of Angel Fire and burn all those poor people out. It'd be terrible. Hey man, yeah, I saw that you're doing a Gettysburg series. I think that's pretty cool. Shipping containers, right? Okay, yeah, good. That's what I thought you were talking about. They've gotten very expensive recently because initially we were potentially looking at building a container-based house, and that idea got nixed. Not fun. I can imagine that would not be fun. Well, hopefully, if you're living in Santa Fe, you'll have more room than you might have had in Hamburg or London. Hopefully, you've retired to Santa Fe too. That's a lovely part of the world. Expensive, but lovely. Uh-oh, he's moving again. Oh, not moving again. I got you. Yeah, I've got that there. And John, that is a really good point. I keep some magazine games handy. I have all of the C3I magazine games and Battles magazine games. I could certainly run through those. That's a really, really good idea. I might get that Hanu game back on the table too. That would be cool. That's a really, really good idea. Yeah, Pete, if you, excuse me, I'm still getting over this cough. Peter, if you go to, I don't know if you do Facebook or not, but if you go to the Facebook page, my personal Facebook page, if you scroll down a little bit, you might see some photographs of where I'll be in Kerrville, in Texas. It's on a hill, so it has great range. All right, so that's all very cool. Okay, so keep the ideas coming, right? That's what I'm looking for, right? I'm looking for ideas on games, and you can see my collection sans the 40 games behind me. Actually, it's more than 40 now. It's 45 games. Oops. May go up to more than that. I'm sorry about the camera, but it just autofocuses and I bounce around too much. I've also got the camera set at 480p resolution, just because I'm not a huge fan of. No, I don't know what I was going to say. I've got too many buttons here I'm pushing. I've got it set at 480p because I've got kids. There we go. There goes the camera again. I've got the kids all playing, live streaming, talking, and playing games. So they're sucking up all the bandwidth that Google Fiber has to offer. So what I was going to ask, what I thought was interesting, also to share with you, that I told you that I bought Chad, the Toyota Wars. Obviously got the big monster, most people sacrificing. And I also took a flyer, I think that's the right term, took a flyer or a chance on the long road from Mark Walker's Flying Pig Games. I found someone online who was selling the Kickstarter bundle, and the price was very reasonable, included shipping and all that sort of stuff. So it was more reasonably priced. And let me show you real quick. And this is just an expansion module. It's called the Fatherland. So the maps, well, first of all, the counters, the big 1-inch, what Mark's now becoming known for. And this is all the German units. I know that's going to be hard to see, etc., because the camera now probably won't focus on the video. But I'm really liking the camera. Really liking the counters. The scenarios are not all paranormal. So there's a blend of standard scenarios that are in a sort of separate booklet, and then there's a campaign that you can kind of play through that sort of links back to the books that Mark wrote. And some people like the books and some people don't, and some people like the whole idea of military sci-fi or paranormal military or fantasy military, and I don't mind it. I just finished reading a really cool series by Peter Nealon, I think his name was. I think his name was, and the first one was Monsters and Ice, and it's about a ranger recon team in 2 or 4 boats. That's basically a platoon that gets transported in time and space to another place, right? And there are monsters, and it's pretty freaking cool because you've got dudes with loadouts and guns and MPGs and thumpers, 20mm grenade launchers, and all that sort of stuff. And then you got these dudes that like have a little bit of magic, and then there's swords and there's arrows, and it's a fascinating read, and they're really fast reads, and they're super accurate. And when I say they're super accurate, the guy was in the Marine Corps or in the Rangers or whatever, and I know they're 2 different things, but he was a dude who got deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan, knows what he's talking about. He's a picture of that. The art color is a little soft for me, a little pastel-y, but I quite like the maps. They're very clean looking and big hexes. So big information on the counter. So really like the look of this. And I'm looking forward to more to the gameplay in a World War III kind of setting, right? Versus the paranormal stuff. Although Kat and Hudson, 2 of my favorite characters from the books, are in them as well. One's a vampire, one's just a dude. But he has special abilities. He's a kind of a hero character. All right, let's see what's going on with that. And then with you guys here. So John mentioned C35. I think C3I35. was kind of disappointed with the articles, I must say. Number 35. We can have a different conversation about that some other time. Yeah, I wish I was. This is a good point about construction, because I'm doing new construction as well, and I was going to do built-in shelving, and the way our house is laid out, we have a lot of glass on one side of the house, and so it actually takes a lot of wall space up, and so it really wasn't going to be conducive to me having these built-in shelves. So I'm going to stick with the bookcases for the time being, and we'll see how we go from there. But that's a great idea to have done something like that, and I probably won't get a ladder because I'll end up breaking my neck on it. And I think, worst case, this is where I'll end up is with IKEA shelves if I need more shelving. I've got enough space, I think, to handle my collection, number one, and to allow for modest growth. I'm a fairly heavy purger of games, so I don't expect my collection will get much past the number that I currently have, which is reasonably high, but it's not crazy. And let's see what here. You're funny. Scott Blanchett, what is going on? Yeah, those play aids are small, but they're readable. I think you can download PDFs and print them out. They've made them bigger already, which is pretty nice. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, so wardrobe, Todd, that's a good question. Platoon Commander is basically the long road, is basically the Platoon Commander system in this sort of fantasy world with the vampires and werewolves and zombies and things. So it works exactly the same. And Platoon Commander is, it's World of War, basically, with a twist. Some different things to it, but it's basically World of War, so it's pretty straightforward, and that's pretty cool. I don't mind. I have not enjoyed the Platoon Commander scenarios that I've played as much. I played the first one that came out in one of the magazines that Mark did, and I wasn't a huge fan of it. And then I saw the Kursk thing, and I don't know, he sent me a complimentary copy of that. I got a little frustrated with it, so I haven't really played it. It's not really about Kursk anyway, so that was kind of, yeah. But OST, if Lock and Load ends up, not making any more published board war games for Lock and Load Tactical, then OST will be my go-to World War II title. And I think they're making a modern version as well. So if they do that, then it'll be my go-to. But I'm hoping that Lock and Load will stick with it and try and get through this Kickstarter of theirs that they're doing. I don't know what's going on there, but they made their number. But unfortunately, I don't think they're going to generate, like Gettysburg generated $76,000 for Flying Pig Games, and there is no way in hell that the Bitter Harvest is going to get anywhere near 76, let alone 35. So we'll see, but fingers crossed that they're successful with that, and then they do a World of War module. I'm looking forward to that second module coming out. So they come 2023, when I'm late 2023, when I'm in the new house, we'll be able to play all those games and get them all set up. I really like OST wardrobe. I think it's got some unique attributes to it. It's still kind of ASL light and prettier, but that's about it. What was I going to say? I was going to talk about Kickstarters, so I guess there's that. Obviously, Compass has a Kickstarter going, but it's just more of an awareness thing. They don't do a proper Kickstarter where they offer significant discounts because the ask is so low. It's $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 or $6,000. It's more of an awareness thing, and they also want to make sure they get the 5K in, right? And there's no stretch goals or anything like that, which, no discount, no stretch goals mean I don't do the Kickstarter. I'd rather just buy it direct from the company and save them having to pay all the fees to Amazon and Kickstarter or GameFound, right? So there's that. So I hope that Compass keeps punching out the titles. They are producing a prodigious amount of games. I'm really looking forward to the Concept World Mini Dallas Expo, Monster Expo. I'm going to meet John for the first time. I'm going to meet Chris Vassal on Saturday afternoon. I'm going to meet Greg, the two Gregories there as well. The Kharkov dude doing the Kharkov stuff for Fall Blau, that Fall Blau system. And then Greg, who does all the solitaire games. I'm going to meet him and play some of his games. So I'm super excited about that. Mo and I are going to be together there. So we'll play with two other chaps. We're playing Angola. In my mind, or at least my experience, the best 4-player war game ever made. And then I'm going to try and get in a quick game of the Compass re-release of the Russian campaign or one of those titles. I'm going to sit in on some Normandy, Omaha Beach action with Chris Vassula and watch that go down, and then basically go around and harass people and be a notorious asshole, as the case may be. So we can do that. Now, look, that's interesting. And I don't think either of them are going to cause a Wargame Ramble says, you changed your channel name, by the way. You say, I enjoy OST more than Lock and Load, but I'm not a tactical World War II expert. And I don't think either of those game systems really call out the tactical finesse required. Whoa, what was that flashing from? Tactical finesse required, or the tactical detail that you need from a squad level game. But they are very thematic, they are highly narrative, and they are interesting to play, and you do need to be thinking about what you want to do and how you want to do it. And combined arms is always better than no combined arms. So that's a thing. So I'm glad to hear you say you like OST more than L&L. I'd be curious to hear more about that, buddy, if you're interested in sharing that. I'm getting text messages from my sister-in-law saying that she's overwhelmed by the fact that my son, my youngest, is graduating from high school in just a few weeks. So apologies for the text messages that are going to start streaming in. That'll be it's a family loop conversation. All right, what do we got going on here? Chris, many texts just out there. I'm trying to suggest 3 OST. Oh, well, that's interesting. And he's just sold off his Academy Games collection. Well, that is probably smart, my friend. Oh, wait, Academy Games, not Avalanche. Academy Games, that must be Conflict of Heroes. That's a good system. Just no content coming out, right? That's very, very few and far in between. For them, I'm interested in that's a OST Combat Command and Lock and Load. That's an interesting set. Do you have people you play with, Chris? I wonder, because Combat Command is obviously not too much fun solo, but you can do it. And the other two are a bit of a hoot playing solo anyway. DCB, yeah. Look, I've actually had a chat with folks about the magazine games that have been coming out in War Diary. I think that parting of the ways with Lock and Load and War Diary was probably a good thing. The level of detail that was paid to by the designer and the publisher was really not up to snuff, right? No developer checking things. Really, David, I know David was really upset with the level of attention to detail that went into some of the magazine games. So you're 100% correct on that. I have looked at that game and the Atlanta game, and they're basically not good. This would be the politest way I could say anything about those, but it's just a shame. And it's no point trying to fix it, right? Because it's stop it. Autofocus. Anyway, there's that. Yeah, look, Todd, I think Chris was a little nervous, or I kind of put him on the spot to have a chat too. So I like that Death Ride system. I just don't know that it's fully developed. It feels like it's still a massively huge playtest kit. It's got a lot of cool concepts in there, but there's a lot of fiddly stuff and a lot of underdeveloped stuff and a lot of rookie mistakes. And that's commentary coming from game designers who've designed and released games successfully. That's not me saying that. I think the combat is very fiddly as opposed to fiddly. And I think the scenario structure and setup is a hot mess. So it could be fixed. All could be fixed, and it all could be pretty fabulous. Doesn't address the quality of the components thing, but that is what it is too. So let's see. Well, John, look. Damn thing staring at me on the shelf there. I want to play that game again. I didn't get very far with it. Maybe I could pull a small scenario out of that. You know what? I'll do that. I'll pull a small scenario out and we'll do something with it and try and dig into the system. I think there's a good system there potentially, but it's got some hair on it and just some functional issues, so user interface issues that were extremely annoying and disappointing. Hey, we got a couple of newbies here. Kevin McKay, good to see you. Thank you for joining in, and glad to see you live with us. I know it's a little bit of a one-way street with me talking and you guys typing, but I really enjoy these. Excuse me. I really enjoy these chats with everybody. They're good times. Yeah, that game ain't getting played anymore by me until I move into the new house, Kevin. Sadly, I've got Sacred Oil that I've done one little scenario on, and very frustrated that I'm not going to be able to have the space to do anything with that. I've got to look at some of the smaller scenarios and see if I can fold the maps up to make it work. But their maps are very substantial. They're non-standard. They're not 22 by 34 or 24 by 34 or anything. They're freaking huge. So that's an issue that's going to cause a problem. Oh, John, I figured you were baiting me, but look, I do want to get back to that damn thing. I've got some Vassal. Look, the other thing is, guys, I've got some pretty cool Vassal games going right now that I haven't posted very much on because I'm trying to let the turns accumulate and make sure A, that the person I'm playing with doesn't flake and leave, and B, quick 20 turns in or 10 turns in. We've all been guilty of that. And I've got my regular Monday night opponent, Steve Arthur. He and I are playing North Africa. We're doing the full campaign. Not posting too much about that just yet because I obviously want to keep my strategy secret because he's a wily guy. He's a wily defender. But he's playing the Germans, so he's going to have his lunch, have his work cut out for him, I guess. But that's coming along. I can play more games on Vassal because I will have the PC. It's something to think about. I'm not a huge fan of playing on Vassal. I would be prepared, assuming the internet connection is positive and good. I'd be happy to try and do some live streaming, but it would probably be background noise and distractions and stuff if we kind of get into it, just given the size of the place we'll be living in. But I'm happy to do it, and I'm happy to play if you folks are interested in watching that sort of stuff. I'm not going to torture myself and play on Vassal if I can get away with it. I'll play on board because that's what I prefer. I prefer the tactile interface. But we could play some much larger games then, and we could run through Army Group Center campaign. We could run through a Big Case Blue or a Third Winter, God forbid, or something like that. Happy to entertain those ideas with you if that's something of interest. The other things are, can we work out a way that we could do something like this where I've got some other software, studio software I can use that can get a much higher resolution stream on the Vassal modules or the tabletop simulators, and we can run a session, and you guys can participate. You can be the opponent, and we can work out how we play together. I'll move all the pieces. You tell me what side you want to be on, and we'll move stuff around and roll some dice, and that might be fun too. I'm always looking for different ways to try and Rubik's Cube the experience here, so that we can all have a little bit of fun together. Since we're all so spread out all over the place, sometimes it's nice if you, particularly folks, don't get to play very much, right? Just for life reasons or physical reasons. I love trying to share and show games. If it's possible, I'll obviously do some, and I'm comfortable with the system, I will do some live streaming of physical games as well. So we'll get on with all that. All right, let's see. What else I want to bring up? Oh, so this I mentioned the con, right? I did, and I mentioned wargaming ideas for constricted spaces. I got a little list here. If there are other ideas for modes of gameplay, using Discord and me umpiring a game between you guys, for instance, someone playing Japanese, someone playing the Americans, and I'll run CB or one of those games, or Pacific War or something like that. We could do that type of stuff as well. Yeah, we'll give you more than a count. It's okay, unless we do a tactical, and then I'll give you a leader, and you can control some units. Thanks, Todd. Take it easy, man. Yeah, we could do something like that. Anyway, look, I've prattled on quite a bit. I actually didn't realize it'd be 40+ minutes already. So thanks for joining in and chatting. I'm happy to talk further and discuss other stuff if you're interested. I guess I could tell you a little bit about what I have been playing. I really didn't get to the update, did I? I didn't really talk about the games per se. So I mentioned that I've got a couple of games on Vassal. So I've got North Africa. I'm starting an EFS learning scenario with a buddy, and then we'll move into the Eastern Front system central module, and we'll do the campaign on Vassal. I've got potentially, well, I think I actually have 2 DAC sessions running. One has collapsed, and the other is in abeyance for the moment. Excuse me. That's the Vassal stuff that I have going. I have no game set up on the table because I just don't know if someone's going to come and take the table and move it, or when that needs to happen yet. So I literally just packed up. I packed up an Ancients game, Silesia, which is the Achaean League versus the Spartans. Just finished that battle. Wrapped up my Pacific War 3-month campaign. It only went 2 months. Had issues. Counters got smashed around by a child, but that's okay. Well, it's not really a child, it's an adult. So that is done. I've packed that up. I did play a session of Aracourt, so I've got to write that up. I've got a mere half a dozen posts on my blog that haven't been shared yet, and I have 10 or 15 that need to be written up. I've got some narrative stuff that I need to do. I did a last 100 yards game, Pacific version of that, the Solomon Islands campaign thing, whatever it's called. So I'm excited to get that done. I think that narrative bit is finished. Did not end well for Marines. What else have I played recently? I think that a few other things, but they're the primary ones. And I'm excited to get some more content out, but it's going to be a bit of a challenge. So anyway, that's kind of the real update. That's what I was really getting online to talk about, and also to try and work out some ways that we can do some things either together or take suggestions from you to identify how we can, or how I can continue gaming a confined area. So, all right, let's see, what do we got going on here? John, we would upgrade you to a field kitchen unit or latrine duty, one of the two. Yeah, Rich, I think we could certainly do it. And I've managed blind games before, so it's not Vive la Emperor, Vol, the Rise of the Eagles, or the Vol. Damn, I can't remember now. There's a Didier Roux play by email system that might be something we can put online using 2 Discord rooms, moving pieces from place to place on a Vassal module, that type of thing. We could certainly do something like that. Yeah, Chris, I can do that right now if you want, or I can play some more games of both of them, and I can do some video about it. I've written a little bit about this in the past, but I have not done a detailed comparison of the two. The primary differences, obviously supply, combat, and the asynchronous nature or asymmetrical nature of the sequence play. That would be the 3 biggies, and obviously time period as well. But anyway, all right, I'm gonna let you guys go because otherwise I'm starting to lose my voice. I've still got this nagging pollen, cold, snot, booger thing, and chest cold. So I'm running out of voice here and steam. So talk to everybody soon. You're awesome for checking in. I really appreciate it, and I will look forward to our next update, and hopefully that will be when I'm in the new barn. All right, all the best. Take care.